What's up, everybody? I just wanted to reach out and apologize. I am sorry. I am sorry if I offended anyone by saying
Hollywood, the land of fame, fortune, and carefully crafted PR images. But what happens when the masks slip? Some try to deny it. Some try to apologize, and some didn't even bother. From shocking racial slurs to full-blown blackface scandals, these celebrities have been dragged, canceled, and in some cases, completely erased from Hollywood history. Stick around because number one is so shocking, it changed Hollywood forever. Let's count down from 50 to 1. The worst of the worst. And trust me, some of these names will surprise you. You know him as the Southern fried comedian who made millions off blue-collar humor. But here's what you might not know.
There's two clowns in a knife fight. One of them falls and stabs you in the face. That's a freak accident right there, all right?
Larry the Cable Guy's comedy isn't just about goofy one-liners. He's been accused multiple times of making racially insensitive jokes about Mexicans and Middle Eastern communities. He insists it's just comedy. But at what point does a joke stop being funny and start being straight up racist? Now, let's turn the clock back a little further to Hollywood's golden age. Al Jolson may have been one of the biggest stars of his time, but his legacy is far from squeaky clean.
Singing it is song time, the banjo strumming soft and low. I know that you yearn for me too. Swanee, you're calling me. Swanee, how I love you, my dear old Swanee. I'd give the world to be.
In 1927, he made history starring in The Jazz Singer, the first talkie film. But what got people's attention is that he did it in full blackface. And here's the weird part. Jolson actually supported black artists in his time. But at the same time, he built his career on racial caricatures that are straight up offensive today. So the question is, was he just a product of his time? Or should we be holding him accountable even now? What if I told you the man behind your favorite childhood movies once created a character based on a racist stereotype and thought no one would notice? Yes, we have Walt Disney on the list.
Who's there?
I'm the fuller brush man. I'm giving a free sample.
Thank you.
No, I got
The man who shaped childhoods, built an empire, and gave us some of the most beloved stories of all time. But here's the part Disney doesn't like to talk about. A closer look at those old cartoons? Yikes! From a Jewish-coded big bad wolf and Three Little Pigs to the blatantly offensive crows in Dumbo, the racism is hard to ignore. And it's not just the animation. Meryl Streep once called him a hideous anti-Semite. Even some of Disney's own family members have hinted that his personal views weren't exactly inclusive. So, was Walt Disney just reflecting the times he lived in? Or is his legacy a little darker than we all thought? There are a few names as legendary in Hollywood as John Wayne, the rugged cowboy, the ultimate tough guy, the all-American hero. But off-screen, his words were more shocking than any Wild West shootout.
Well, we have 20 million blacks on this continent.
Right.
It was necessary to extend rights to them that perhaps for the first 199 years were denied them in this free America.
I guess that they've had a pretty tough break, but not quite as bad as you and your do-gooder friends would have them believe. They live as well here as they live in any other country over that 199 years. True, I think they do have a right to more.
In a 1971 Playboy interview, Wayne didn't just slip up. He proudly declared, "I believe in white supremacy." And he didn't stop there. When talking about Native Americans, he justified their genocide. Decades later, Hollywood still honors his name. But here's the real question. Should they? Stepping into the spotlight next, we have a performance so cringeworthy, it's hard to believe it ever made it to the big screen. Ever watched Breakfast at Tiffany's? Remember Mr. Yunioshi? If that scene made you physically uncomfortable, you're not alone.
alongside me. Mr. Go right way. Someday, Mr. Go right way.
Mickey Rooney's portrayal of a Japanese landlord, fake accent, taped eyelids, and exaggerated buck teeth is now seen as one of the most offensive portrayals in film history. Years later, Rooney brushed off the backlash, saying he had no idea it was offensive. But let's be real, can you really not know? But some Hollywood decisions make you wonder, how did no one step in and say, hey, maybe this isn't a great idea? We're talking about Laurence Olivier. In 1965, one of the most celebrated actors of all time covered himself in dark makeup, exaggerated his lips, and played Othello in full-on blackface.
Farewell the neighing steed and the shrill trump, the spirit-stirring drum, the ear-piercing fife, the royal banner, and all quality, pride, pomp, and circumstance of glorious war. And oh, you mortal engines whose rude throats the immortal Jove's dread clamors counterfeit, farewell Othello's occupations. Done! Then be sure thou prove my love a whore. Be sure of it. Give me the...
Yes, this actually happened. Even back then, critics were shifting in their seats. Today, it's considered one of the worst casting decisions in Hollywood history. So why did Olivier, one of the most respected actors in history, think this was okay? And more importantly, why did Hollywood let him get away with it? Next up, we have Marlon Brando, one of the greatest actors to ever grace the big screen, respected, admired, and then, in 1996, he threw it all away with one shocking interview. On live television, Brando didn't just criticize Hollywood, he claimed Hollywood is run by Jews, throwing in anti-Semitic slurs, like it was just another line in a script. The backlash was instant. The legendary actor was forced to apologize. But here's the real question. Was he truly remorseful, or just panicking because the world was watching? Over to the next celebrity, we have Ted Danson. Charming, funny, beloved by millions. But in 1993, he made a decision that left people speechless. At a Friars Club roast, Danson walked in wearing full blackface, dropping the N-word like it was part of the script. And guess who was in the audience? His then-girlfriend, Whoopi Goldberg. Even the mayor of New York had to step in and say, yeah, this is way over the line. But Danson, he brushed it off as just a joke. Here's the real question. Why do some people think racism is comedy? And why did he think he'd get away with it? Tired of expensive, low-effort script writers for your YouTube channel? Autoscripter.ai is the ultimate solution. Say goodbye to low-quality, poorly retention amateur scripts that fail to generate thousands of views for your channel. At a fraction of the cost, Autoscripter.ai helps your videos go viral. In just 3 steps, Autoscripter.ai creates a polished script tailored to your needs. Just input your title concept, select your tone and style. The intuitive interface makes editing and refining effortless, fast, smart, and trusted by hundreds of satisfied users who have already discovered the amazing tool. Start your free trial today and watch Autoscripter.ai transform your YouTube channel. Just click the link in the video description below now. Speaking of comedians who took things way too far, let's talk about Sarah Silverman. She built her career on pushing boundaries, but in 2007, she crossed a line that even she later admitted was horrifying. In an episode of the Sarah Silverman program, she thought it would be a great idea to paint her face in full blackface for a satirical sketch. At the time, she defended it as a way to start a conversation, but years later, she wasn't laughing anymore. She admitted, "I'm horrified that I did it." But here's the thing. Why do some people only feel bad once the backlash hits? Next on the list, we have a late-night host with a not-so-funny past. Back in 2000, Fallon did a sketch on Saturday Night Live where he dressed in full blackface to impersonate Chris Rock. And guess how long it took him to apologize? 2 decades.
Man, oh man, read this book. I seen Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and guess what? Not a lot of black folks on the show. Right. Not a lot of black folks on the show. You know why? Because black folks don't like to answer questions. Oh, they want to be millionaires. We got to ask that kind of question like, in 1981, how many grams of crack did Rick James smoke when he recorded Super Freak?
When the clip resurfaced in 2020, Fallon finally said, "There is no excuse for this." But here's the question. Is an apology truly sincere when it only comes after you've been caught? And speaking of late-night hosts who had to apologize for their past, let's talk about Jimmy Kimmel, because Fallon wasn't alone, not even close. Back in his Comedy Central days, Kimmel didn't just do blackface once, he did it multiple times.
In this clip from 2001, Kimmel impersonates former NBA star Karl Malone.
That ain't gonna be no good time for nobody.
It aired on Comedy Central's The Man Show, which Kimmel co-hosted with Adam Carolla.
My body is my temple.
Kimmel also impersonated Oprah. Carolla is now making an impassioned plea. Some critics call for Kimmel's late-night talk show to be canceled.
From Karl Malone to Oprah Winfrey, he leaned into offensive stereotypes, imitating black voices and mannerisms. In 2020, those old clips resurfaced, and Kimmel was forced to apologize, calling them embarrassing. But let's be real, was he actually sorry, or just sorry he got caught? And that's just the beginning. Stick around, because you won't believe who's coming up next. Next on the list is a story of a Halloween costume destroying reputation. If you ever need proof that it's just a costume is never an excuse, look no further than Julianne Hough. In 2013, she thought it would be fun to dress up as Crazy Eyes, the black character from Orange is the New Black. But she didn't stop at the prison jumpsuit. She painted her face brown to complete the look. Within hours, the internet exploded. She quickly apologized, saying she never meant to offend anyone. But let's be real. How do you accidentally put on blackface? Let's keep going because the scandals just get messier. Our number 38, we have Sharon Osbourne, the outspoken, unfiltered, and always in the news headlines. But what happens when things cross the line into straight-up racism? Former co-hosts came forward with shocking claims, alleging that Sharon called her Chinese-American colleague slanty eyes and dismissed her black co-host as too ghetto. Osbourne denied everything, but suddenly she left the talk after an internal investigation. Coincidence? Or was CBS just trying to save face? And speaking of losing jobs over racism, the next one, it cost someone $69 million. We've seen celebs get canceled for wearing blackface, but defending blackface in 2018, that takes a special kind of ignorance. That's exactly what Megyn Kelly did live on the Today Show. She claimed blackface wasn't always racist and insisted that when she was a kid, it was fine as long as you were dressing as a character.
It's racist because truly you do get in trouble if you are a white person who puts on blackface on Halloween or a black person who puts on whiteface for Halloween. Like back when I was a kid, that was okay as long as you were dressing up as like a character.
If somebody feels like something is offensive to them, then you should say it, and that's fair game. And you should be able to take it if you're going to dress up like that.
Yeah, you got to be able to take it.
Yeah.
Big mistake, because within days, NBC canceled her show. That $69 million contract, gone. Even her tearful apology couldn't save her, and honestly, she could have just not said anything.
I want to begin with 2 words. I'm sorry.
Next, we have a chef who cooked up a racist scandal. Paula Deen went from America's comfort food queen to getting completely burned by scandal. In 2013, court documents revealed some disturbing things about the celebrity chef. Paula had used the N-word frequently. She made racist jokes about her black employees, and she fantasized about a plantation-style wedding with black waitstaff. Yeah, that's not Southern charm. The fallout was brutal because the Food Network fired her. Walmart, Target, and sponsors ran for the hills, and her restaurant empire crumbled overnight. She sobbed on TV, begging for forgiveness. But the real question is, would you still eat at one of her restaurants? And if you thought that downfall was quick, wait until you hear how one sentence ruined the next guy's entire career. Some radio hosts love to push boundaries, but Don Imus, he shattered them in the worst way possible. In 2007, during his morning radio show, he casually called the mostly black Rutgers women's basketball team nappy-headed hoes.
Girls from Rutgers, man, they got tattoos and
some hardcore hoes. That's some nappy-headed hoes there, I'm going to tell you that now. Man, that's some... Ooh.
The backlash was instant. Advertisers fled while CBS Radio pulled the plug, and MSNBC dropped his show completely. Even after a public apology, his career never fully recovered. And speaking of one-sentence career destruction, next we have someone who got destroyed for a single tweet. Back in 2018, when X was Twitter, Roseanne Barr tweeted a racist insult comparing former Obama advisor Valerie Jarrett, a black woman, to an ape. Yikes, that deserves some backlash.
ABC fired Roseanne from her reboot of The Roseanne Show in 2018 after she sent out a vile tweet deemed racist about former President Obama's senior advisor, Valerie Jarrett. After the blowback, Roseanne tweeted an apology and said she was under the influence of Ambien. She also went on this rant.
I thought the was wild.
What happened next? ABC didn't hesitate. Roseanne was canceled the same day, and she was kicked off her own show. And of course, she blamed it on her sleeping pills. But let's be real, no medication makes you racist. On number 33, we have someone whose career got destroyed over time. In 2014, after an altercation with a black woman, Cumia went on an unhinged racist Twitter rampage. He called black people violent animals and suggested segregation should make a comeback. Worst part, he doubled down when people called him out. But SiriusXM wasted no time. Within days, they fired him. He tried to defend himself, but his career was already dead.
It was be as outrageous as is humanly possible. People loved when their radio guy got in trouble.
And if you thought getting fired was bad, the next guy was exposed by his own family. It's one thing to get exposed by the media. It's a whole different thing when your own son leaks a tape of you repeatedly using the N-word. In 2007, Dwayne "Dog" Chapman warned his son to break up with his black girlfriend because he didn't want her hearing him using racial slurs. What happened next? The tape went public. A&E put Doug the Bounty Hunter on hold and Chapman apologized. But can you really take back something like this? And now, let's talk about a scandal so bad it ruined one of the most beloved sitcom stars of all time. Comedy clubs are meant for laughter, but in 2006, Michael Richards left audiences in horrified silence. During a stand-up set, he snapped at a heckler and started screaming the N-word multiple times. A video of the racist meltdown went viral overnight. Richards scrambled to apologize on The Late Show with David Letterman, but it was too late. Seinfeld fans never saw him the same way again.
I tried, but it went to hell. It was heroic, horrific.
You've apologized for it.
I have.
And you've learned something from this, don't you?
Oh, indeed, indeed.
And we're just getting started because the next names on this list are even worse. You know him as the larger-than-life wrestling icon, the bandana, the mustache, the brother catchphrase. But in 2015, everything changed. A leaked recording exposed Hulk Hogan using the N-word multiple times while ranting about his daughter dating a black man. And WWE, they didn't hesitate to fire him. He was erased from the Hall of Fame and wiped off WWE's website like he never existed. And speaking of people exposing their true colors, we have one of the most respected actors of his generation. But behind the scenes, his words were downright terrifying. Mel Gibson, in 2006, got arrested for DUI and went on a wild anti-Semitic rant, screaming, "The Jews are responsible for all the wars in the world." But it didn't stop there. In 2010, he was caught on tape again, this time telling his girlfriend she'd be raped by a pack of N-words.
I don't work around in tight clothes. I stay at home for most of the time.
Public, and it's a embarrassment to me. You look like a unheat, and if you get raped by a pack, it'll be your fault. All right? Because you provoked it. You are provocatively dressed all the time with your fake boobs. You feel you have to show off in tight outfits and tight pants and stuff. You see your from behind. And that green thing today was enough. That's provocative. Okay?
Yes, those actual words came out of his mouth. Hollywood blacklisted him for years. But Mel wasn't the only star who let their real thoughts slip. Our number 28 we have, Azealia Banks isn't just known for her music. She's known for her unfiltered, straight-up offensive rants. And let's be real, it's not a one-time thing. In 2016, she attacked Zayn Malik on Twitter, calling him a curry-scented biatch and a sand N-word. Twitter banned her and she lost major gigs overnight. Did she learn from it? Nope. She kept going, mocking black people, Asians, the LGBTQ+ community. At some point, it stopped being just edgy and became who she was. She had the talent, she had the opportunities, so why did she throw it all away? And speaking of throwing away a career, next we have an actor, comedian, TV host, mogul. Nick Cannon in 2020 went on his podcast and pushed anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, claiming Jewish people control the banks and media, and called white people closer to animals. Nick apologized, saying he didn't realize how hurtful his words were. But here's the thing, if no one called him out, would he have ever realized it? And he's not the only one whose own words got them in trouble. Morrissey, the former Smiths frontman, once a legend, now a walking controversy. In 2010, he called the entire Chinese population a subspecies. He publicly supported the UK's anti-Muslim political party and said immigration ruined England. For years, fans defended him, but at some point, even the most loyal realized he just keeps doubling down. Next on the list, we have a guitar god, a rock star, but in 1976, he paused a concert to go on a racist rant. Eric's words were, "This is a white country, keep Britain white," called black people wogs and coons. People were so shocked it literally sparked an anti-racism movement. Years later, he blamed it on being drunk. But here's the thing, he never actually apologized. So was it the alcohol talking or just the truth slipping out? Coming up next is a confession that ended a career. Liam Neeson was Hollywood's ultimate tough guy. But in 2019, he shared something that shocked everyone. After a friend was assaulted by a black man, he admitted, "I walked around hoping a black man would pick a fight with me so I could kill him." Yes, he actually said that. He later called it a horrible moment of rage and ignorance. But should a moment like that be forgiven? Well, you won't believe who's next on this list. Everyone knows Bieber was a reckless teenager, but did you know he was caught on video saying the N-word? In a leaked clip, a 14-year-old Bieber joked, "Why are black people afraid of chainsaws?" and then went on to mimic the sound. "Run, N-word, run."
That's just straight.
Why are black people afraid of chainsaws?
Don't even say it. Don't say
Run.
it.
You can say motorcycle too.
To his credit, Bieber later apologized and said that he educated himself and actively supported anti-racist movements. But let's be real, if those videos never leaked, would he have ever changed? The next one on the list will surprise you because before he was a movie star, Mark Wahlberg was a violent racist. While he was just 15 years old, Mark apparently chased black kids and threw rocks at them, screaming racial slurs. At 16, he attacked a Vietnamese man. Years later, he apologized, calling it a stupid mistake. But here's the real question. Do we forgive teenage crimes, or should some things never be forgotten? And speaking of people saying things they'll regret forever, number 22, we have John Mayer, smooth voice, charming persona. But in 2010, he said things no one expected. He used the N-word while joking about his public image on stage and made degrading comments about black women. The backlash was instant. Mayer tried apologizing on stage, saying he was trying to be witty, but instead sounded like a privileged jerk. But here's the thing. When someone casually says stuff like that, is it really just a joke?
Hey everybody, John Mayer here at Red Rocks Amphitheater in Colorado. As you can see, after a pretty lively night number one. I don't normally take to video to communicate with my fans. I usually prefer the written word, but this is a special circumstance. I wanted to send out a very special apology to specifically the fans who were here tonight. I'll get to those watching on YouTube later. It's just as disgusting when you watch it back.
And we're only just getting started. Some lost everything overnight. Some tried to cover it up, because next we have the final 20. Brace yourself, because it only gets worse from here. Number 20, we have Paris Hilton, the queen of reality TV, the ultimate it girl of the early 2000s. But behind the designer handbags and camera flashes, she was caught on tape dropping the N-word, casually, laughing as it was just another party joke. Years later, she tried to brush it off, saying she didn't understand the weight of the words.
Hilton, who was charged with driving under the influence of alcohol in 2006, said she drank to dull the pain, but added that was not an excuse for her use of derogatory language. Sometimes I was just wasted and being a effing moron. I don't remember half the stuff people say I said when I was being a blacked out idiot, but I'm not denying it.
At 20 years old, you know exactly what you're saying. And Paris wasn't the only young star whose past came back to haunt them, because the next one will surprise you. She started as Fifth Harmony's sweetheart, but in 2019, Camila Cabello's old Tumblr posts surfaced, and they weren't just problematic. The N-word, racist memes, slurs targeting Black and Asian people, and one meme literally compared a Black child to fried chicken. The internet exploded. Camilla went into full damage control, crying, apologizing, saying she was young and ignorant. But let's be real, ignorance doesn't make racism disappear. And speaking of excuses that don't work, getting hired on SNL is every comedian's dream. But for Shane Gillis, it turned into a nightmare. In 2019, just 4 days after he was announced as a new cast member, old podcast clips surfaced, and let's just say they didn't age well. Racial slurs, mocking Chinese people, and offensive jokes that weren't even funny. His response was a classic non-apology when he said, "If you were actually offended, I'm sorry." And when does a bad joke turn into a full-blown career killer? Number 17, we have Kelly Osbourne. Live TV is unpredictable. One wrong sentence, and your whole career takes a nosedive. Just ask Kelly. In 2015, on The View, she was trying to slam Trump's racist immigration policies, but instead she said, "If you kick every Latino out of this country, who's going to clean your toilets?"
And if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is going to be cleaning your toilet, Donald Trump?
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that,
no.
You know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying
there's more jobs to be in LA.
The room went silent. Coast host Rosie Perez immediately called her out. Kelly tried to backpedal, but the damage was done. And speaking of people saying things they wish they could take back, we have Kid Rock, rock star, rebel, always looking for controversy. But in 2019, he got drunk on stage and went on a slurred, angry rant about Oprah Winfrey. He called her names, used racist dog whistles, and his excuse? He just said, "I just don't like Oprah." And speaking of rock stars who can't seem to keep their mouth shut, at number 15, Ted Nugent, guitar legend, gun advocate, and a man who called the first Black president a subhuman mongrel.
I have obviously failed to galvanize and prod, if not shame, enough Americans to be ever vigilant not to let a Chicago communist-raised, communist-educated, communist-nurtured, subhuman mongrel like the Acorn community organizer gangster Barack Hussein Obama to weasel his way into the top office of authority in the United States of America.
And that's not even the worst thing he said. He claimed Black Americans have a mindless tendency to reproduce at high levels, and yet he still insists he loves Black people. Is this a man who actually believes his words, or just someone desperate for attention? Reality TV stars think they're untouchable, until they're not. In 2020, Vanderpump Rules star Stassi Schroeder and Kristen Duke were exposed for falsely reporting their Black classmate, Faith Stowers, to the police, accusing her of a crime she didn't commit. Faith went public, and the internet exploded, and Bravo fired them on the spot. And speaking of careers destroyed by past behavior, at number 13, we have someone whose racist tweets that ended it all for them. She was climbing the reality TV ladder until Twitter caught up with her. On MTV, Taylor Selfridge once said that, "I won't greet Black people because they scare me." She also joked about Asians, and MTV wasted no time to fire her. excuse? I was young and stupid. But here's the question. Does being young excuse racism? We've almost made it to the end. And trust me, this is where things get really disturbing. Number 12, Abby Lee Miller. She was known for being tough, but did you know she was also racist toward young black dancers?
Because of the vultures in this room, that poor kid has to go like this.
No, Abby.
No.
And you know what? You know who creates the vultures? It's you. Because you try to turn all of these kids against their friend, and that little girl's mortified all the time, but you don't care. How about being a role model?
A former contestant exposed her, revealing that Abby once told a black girl, "You grew up in the hood with only 8 crayons. I grew up with 64, and called out another black dancer for having lived in the ghetto. Abby tried to apologize, but the damage? Already done. Next up, we have a Flash star who got canceled overnight. Hartley Sawyer had a huge role on The Flash, and then a couple of things got wrong for him, revealing his real face. Old tweets surfaced, jokes about date rape, usage of the N-word, and mocking homeless people. The network didn't even hesitate. He was fired immediately. At this point, we've seen career-ending tweets, blackface scandals, and some of the worst excuses imaginable. And now, we've made it, the final 10. At the 10th position is the Glee star who bullied black co-stars. All right, imagine being the lead of a show called Glee, a series all about inclusion, acceptance, and celebrating differences. Now, imagine making life miserable for your black co-stars behind the scenes. That's exactly what Lea Michele did. Samantha Ware, a black actress on Glee, came forward in 2020 and exposed Lee's true colors. She claimed Lea made her life a living hell, threatened to get her fired, and even joked about pooping in her wig. Hollywood loves a good social justice warrior story. And Jessica Maroney? She built an entire career off being Meghan Markle's progressive best friend. But behind the scenes, the truth was a little different. In 2020, black influencer Sasha Exeter encouraged fellow influencers to speak out in support of BLM. Jessica? She took it personally and slid into Sasha's DMs and literally threatened to ruin her career. When the story went public, Jessica's world collapsed overnight. She lost her TV job, brand deals, and even Meghan Markle distanced herself. Karma came fast for Jessica. Remember Tila Tequila, the MySpace queen, the wild MTV reality star? Yeah, she went from fame to full-blown white supremacist. She praised Hitler online, posted Nazi salutes, and called for an end to interracial marriage. People thought she was trolling at first, but nope, she kept doubling down, posting more and more hateful garbage. And it got so bad, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook all banned her for life. At number 7, we have someone who seems harmless. Gina Rodriguez. She played Jane the Virgin, had a huge fan base, and even claimed to be all about diversity. But when it came to the black community, she just couldn't help herself. She casually dropped the N-word on Instagram Live.
Voodoo, I could do what you do, believe me. Give me heebie-jeebies.
Downplayed black struggles while comparing them to Latinos, and even complained that black women were getting more Hollywood roles than Latinas. And when the people called her out, she gave the classic, "I'm sorry if I offended anyone," non-apology.
What's up, everybody? I just wanted to reach out and apologize. I am sorry. I am sorry if I offended anyone by singing along to the Fugees, to a song I love that I grew up on. I love Lauryn Hill, and I really am sorry if I offended.
At number 6, we have YouTube's biggest blackface scandal. Shane Dawson was a YouTube king. He had millions of fans, a huge platform, and a career built on comedy. Then, his old videos resurfaced. He used racial slurs like they were punchlines mocking Mexicans, Asians, and black people for years.
The word of the day is nigga.
Oh, nigga, bitch, monkey woman, you're the best.
Hey, wanna hear a black joke? Why is Stevie Wonder always smiling? Because he doesn't know he's a nigga.
Yo, what did you just say?
Suddenly, Shane wasn't so funny anymore. His old videos went viral for all the wrong reasons.
Sister, talk about a two-way twister.
shaking up the family tree with siblings and granddaughters. Yeah. Sister, sister. What did you just say? Snooky? Yeah. So what do you want to do?
Ching chong bong, ching chong dong ding dong. That means go buy my new song. Ding ding wang wang ding 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 she.
To my car and drive to Home Depot. You're standing outside, so I yell on delay and you hop in my ride.
He posted a tearful apology video saying he was ashamed, but YouTube didn't care. They demonetized his entire channel. At number 5, we have a joke that went too far. Amy Schumer has built her career on pushing boundaries, but sometimes she straight up crossed the line. Like the time she joked, "I used to date Hispanic guys, but now I prefer consensual." Yeah, she really said that. Wait, so she's calling Hispanic men rapists now? She defended herself saying, "It's just comedy." But nobody was laughing. That's not the only time she delivered racist jokes. But is comedy a free pass for racism? Or did she finally learn her lesson? We're down to the final 4. And trust me, these are the ones that hit the hardest. Some tried to laugh it off, some didn't even pretend to be sorry. And then there's the next one. Blake Shelton. When old tweets from Blake Shelton resurfaced, the backlash was immediate. Suddenly, the country star wasn't quite the fan favorite anymore. His homophobic and racist tweets like, "Wish the beep heads in the next room would either shut up or learn some English so I would at least know what he's planning to bomb," went viral, and he was called out for being a racist. So, was this just a bad joke gone wrong, or were we seeing a glimpse of what he actually believed? Blake tried to move on, but let's be honest, the internet never forgets. And speaking of people who never really got the memo, Howard Stern built his career on being outrageous. At one point, he thought it was funny to go on national TV in full blackface, use the N-word, and mock racial stereotypes.
That I can't believe you're still in blackface after the Friars Roast controversy.
Oh, hush up. I hate blackface. I just can't get this shit off. Besides, Whoopi done wrote everything I'm going to say here tonight, so it's all right. Ain't that right, you smelly nigga?
I didn't write that.
Well, you is a smelly nigga.
For years, it was brushed off as edgy humor. When those clips resurfaced, even his own fans were disgusted. Stern claimed regret, but the real question is, did he change? Or did he just realize racism doesn't pay anymore? And if you think that's bad, the next person didn't have just one racist moment. He's been at it for decades, and millions cheered him on. Number 2, Donald Trump. From his racist birther conspiracy against Obama to calling Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals, Trump's track record speaks for itself.
They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Remember the Central Park 5 case? 5 black and Latino teens were wrongfully accused of assaulting a jogger in 1989. Trump took out full-page ads calling for the death penalty, and even after DNA cleared them, he still refused to admit they were innocent. Whether you think he's brutally honest or just plain racist, one thing is clear: Trump's legacy on race is far from spotless. And finally, we are at the number 1 spot. This isn't just a celebrity with a scandal, it's someone whose work literally fueled white supremacy. W.D. Griffith, the director who revived the KKK. Most of the names on this list got caught saying something racist, but D.W. Griffith, he made an entire movie glorifying white supremacy. Back in 1915, he directed The Birth of a Nation, a film that literally helped bring the Ku Klux Klan back into the spotlight. It painted black people as violent criminals and made the Klan out to be heroes. And it wasn't just a movie of its time, it was used by the Klan to recruit new members. So when people say, it's just art, let's be clear. When your movie helps a hate group gain power, it's not just art, it's propaganda. So there you have it, 50 celebrities whose past came back to bite them. Some tried to cover it up, others watched their careers come crashing down, and some just skated by without facing any real consequences. But here's the bigger question. Does cancel culture really work, or does fame just make some people untouchable? And when these stars apologize, are we buying it, or is it just a way to save face? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who deserved worse? Who got off easy? And if you think modern Hollywood is bad, wait till you see the dirty secrets hiding in old Hollywood. Watch 20 hidden nasty horrors of old Hollywood's golden age next. And if you made it this far, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.